This is The Gorge, the podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month you gain access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 gets you Takeout, a monthly commentary track where Ben and I decide we don't feel like playing something, so we watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 gets you our Grab Bag tier, which is like any additional content we do that is not takeout goes in the $2 tier.
Yeah.
It's the a la carte, if you will.
It can. You ever DoorDash something and they're like, add a plate of fries or onion rings for like $3.50.
That's right.
And you're like,
we're significantly cheaper. And we're like,
you're like, wait, $3.50 for onion rings? I better get a huge plate of onion rings, and it's like $5. And you're like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, for $2 you get significantly more value than what you get off of DoorDash. So, patreon.com/thegorge. Kick in however much you can, from $2 to $5 to $10 to $50. Don't give us $50 a month. But we do appreciate however much you can. We love you for it. And thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So, what did you do this past week?
I played a lot of Cyberpunk 2077.
I also played a lot of Cyberpunk 2077. Well, not
that game's really good.
I didn't play. I crammed as much as I was able to in the past weekend.
Yeah. I played a lot of that. I did my Final Fantasy 14 stuff, but like the biggest thing, the two biggest things is one, the Discord. By the way, you should join our Discord. The Discord watched Skinamarink, which is a great movie. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And then the other thing I did is I just played a lot of Cyberpunk 2077. That game's really good, as it turns out.
I'm mad that game's good.
That game is really good now. It's like it really scratches. It's scratching a very specific part of my brain. I know when you were texting me about it, like, is it really a lot like Fallout 4? And at first I was like, yeah. And then I thought about it more. And I'm like, no, not really. It's more like, because it doesn't have the same gameplay loop, right? Like Fallout 4 has an extremely addicting gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And 77. That's a problem, by the way, is that this game is called 2077, and we also invested a lot of time into a game called Fallout 76. So that's going to be an issue. But 2077 does not have that loop. So I realized it's more of a better Far Cry game. Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe I get with it too, because you're definitely not going, ooh, what's that?
Right.
In Cyberpunk. The city's very big and it is gorgeous to look at.
Sure.
For sure. But you're not going to stumble upon a quest. Yeah. Instead, you get calls from guys you knew in high school.
Yeah. Who wonder if you're really interested in selling makeup for Mary Kay with them, right?
The sheer number of people
who have your phone number
that I just imagine me being like, how did you get this number?
How did you get a hold of me? It's really funny. And I know that's also kind of how Starfield works. I'm having a hard time. Come back to me in 2 weeks. I'll be able to articulate why it works for Cyberpunk and it doesn't work for Starfield. Right now, the answer is driving car fun.
Driving car does feel good. I wish it were a little less cramped.
I like
because
that about it.
I find myself having to obey traffic laws.
That's when you get a motorcycle.
With I am being forced to obey them, because otherwise I just can't progress down the street.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the motorcycle, because that's why it's fun, is that you can just weave in and out of traffic and go 120 miles an hour, and God help you if you hit anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the thing is that getting around in Cyberpunk 2077 is fun instead of boring. So I enjoy it a lot. I've done the one plot that I've been kind of focusing on, which is post Act 1, focusing on Evelyn Parker and finding her. And that has been a really good plot line. Just in general, the whole game is just it is funny that this is really more just kind of a noir story right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a cyberpunk noir story, and I'm okay with that. I'm
definitely okay. I think, you know what, all these years we've been saying that the voice protagonist in Fallout 4 was bad because it was voiced. No, it was just bad.
Yeah.
A voice protagonist is actually kind of good.
It honestly, I don't mind not having a voice protagonist. It varies from game to game.
Yeah.
It makes sense for a CDPR game because like all of their protagonists are voiced, right?
Yeah.
And V is a specific kind of character. They're not as much of a blank slate. Like you have 3 different types of V you can get depending on your background. But like they're not as much of a blank slate because of it. And I don't mind that. Like I don't mind a voice in that case. It all works out really well. And I don't know. I'm just like it's a fun game to play. I like the guns. I like all the different like movement mechanics and stuff you can unlock.
I was looking at augments and stuff you can get, and I was looking at them, just scrolling through, and I'm like, legs, double jump.
Yeah, you can just get double jump.
Okay,
get double jump. Yeah, it owns. You can also get a super jump where instead you hold the jump button, you can jump way faster. Yeah, it's awesome. There's a shit ton of different arm mods to give you different kinds of like arm blades or gorilla hands, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just fun. It's fun to cruise around in. There's just, it's a weird game. I talked about it a little bit on Twitter, but then I talked kind of on Twitter with other people, talked about it more, where this is like, it is a alternate timeline. It's not an extrapolation of our future, right? Because like the way tech and stuff developed, it's meant to be, the game doesn't really get that across very well, but like the actual RPG setting gets that across better.
Yeah, they talk about stuff that happened in like 2020.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well.
Yeah. So like technology developed very differently. Like the internet developed very differently. That's why there's still like records are still a thing, is because of the way technology developed.
So what you're saying is that this is the branching timeline from Fallout.
Actually, literally, yes. Because the Fallout world ends in 2077.
Yeah. And
which is always really crazy to me.
And their technology was more analog and sticking with that aspect versus going more digital like Cyberpunk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really interesting.
So that's my grand unifying theory of timelines.
Yeah, they're diverging timelines from the actual timeline of human history. They're both lost belts.
There's the one timeline where Tony Hawk never met Bam Margera.
Right.
And the one where he did meet Bam Margera.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah. I can't wait for one of these lost belts to get pruned. Whichever one can't continue human development.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Fallout. They blew up the world.
Well, the apocalypse does not necessarily mean you know what? We can't talk about fate right now. We'll be here all day.
It's fine.
But yeah, no, I really like Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Depending on how good Phantom Liberty is, you might get an episode out of us.
You probably. I think at least this game is already good enough that we're going to do at least here's base game analysis of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but I'd like to. I mean, I'm going to do once I finish this next plot, like this main story quest. Is when I unlock, like I can actually go do Phantom Liberty, which I'm looking forward to. So I'm gonna go do Phantom Liberty, and I heard that's really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to just progressing this and seeing how everything goes. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I like every part of Cyberpunk so far, like a lot.
Yeah, I have 2 small things that are very like for me specifically. One is that the Maelstrom guys freak me the fuck out. I don't like looking at them.
Yeah, I love it. They're so fucked up looking. It's great.
I don't like looking at those guys at all. They remind me of... Oh, what was it? There was some movie or something where the androids looked like that with like huge chunks of their body missing. Something that I watched as like a little kid. I can't even remember what it was, but like seeing that kind of aesthetic of like, oh, your face is just caved in.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out as a kid. So I'm just kind of like getting echoes of that.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, I don't like that. The other thing is that the advertisements and the videos that are like, just broadcast throughout the city hit me in a weird way because all I can think of is Transmet.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think those are coming from the same place. In terms of cultural touchstones. They kind of come from the same, because this is an extrapolation of Mike Pondsmith's tabletop RPG Cyberpunk 2020, right?
Yeah.
And I think those two things, 2020 and Transmetropolitan, are kind of contemporaries. Like they're kind of written.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
At around the same time. And because of that, they both have these same ideas of what the future looked like at the time. Oates pointed out to me, it's kind of like extrapolating from all of those obnoxious Hardee's ads post 9/11, in the mid 2000s.
Okay, that's a specific call, but I get it.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All of those extremely horny, very loud, very obnoxious ads that were on TV, from 1999 to 2000 and about 2009, honest, about 2008, because I feel like the economic crash probably did something to everybody's brains. And so because of that, these are all extrapolating from the same stuff, and so this kind of gross, crowded, crude, horny, nihilistic vision of the future. John
Romero is going to make you his bitch.
Yeah. It all kind of comes from that same place of this nasty post 9/11 vision of America, right? 9/11 ruined everything. We've been over this. And that includes cyberpunk fiction. And so that's what makes them so similar to me in my head anyways, is that they're it's this post-Reagan, Clinton era, and then into the Bush era kind of vision of the future. And then of course the actual vision of the future is somehow even more depressing and more sanitized than anybody
boring.
Could have, and way much more boring than anybody could have ever imagined. I would give anything for the version of the future where they're just disgusting, fat asses bouncing around on fucking billboards.
Yeah, that one is great. I love that one where it's just the guy in just a giant ass in front of him.
Yeah, exactly.
I also like the one where it's the guy eating the burger and his head is exploding.
Yeah, that oh god, there's so many just really vile ads, and I kind of love them. I've really come around on how disgusting this game is.
Yeah, I do. I just love the contrast of seeing the children in the city walk by an ad with a giant ass on it. And it's this is a look at your future. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not even remotely.
We don't got that no more.
We don't even get that. We don't. No. There's not even any tits in movies anymore, much less in advertising. So yeah, it's very interesting to see that kind of that difference going on.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. I thought the children were little people.
I think, I swear to God, I think some of them are. I've seen some walking around. I'm are you an adult or are you a child? And some of them, you see, they're okay, this is a child. They have a child's face. And sometimes I'm looking at you, I'm hello? So maybe that's just what children look like in Poland. I don't know.
I think we as a society, every European or Western dev out there, we need to have a big meeting of the minds, and we need to sit them all down, and we need to say, what do you think a child looks like?
What do you think kids look like?
we need to work on some things. So we
want
to get an idea. We need to get an idea of what you think children look like, and then we know where to go from there.
Right. I need you to tell me what you think a child looks like, so I can tell you how you're wrong.
And then you just see the Bethesda team, like, they click on an adult model and they just scale it to 50, and they look at you like, right? Yes?
No.
No.
Just like dealing with a bunch of ironically a bunch of 8-year-olds being like, no little Todd, that's not what children look like. I need you to go back to the drawing board and try that again, okay?
Yeah. Okay, inside the lines. Got to color inside the lines, okay?
I need you to take your friend CD Projekt Red and show him how to do it too. Yeah.
No, it's a great game though. It's a fucking great game.
It is legitimately, like, I'm really enjoying this fucking video game. I like it a lot, actually. So
I like that Keanu Reeves is on the very small list of film actors who were allowed to be voice actors.
Yeah, he does a great job.
He does.
The whole, like, back and forth between Johnny and V is really, really funny, as it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, 2077. I got it for $10, which might be part of the reason why I'm like enjoying myself so much. But yeah, I think you should actually play Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. It turns out for all of our hype for Starfield, we're just like, no, play 77 instead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the problem, is that this game absolutely eats Starfield's lunch.
Yeah.
It just kicks its ass up and down the street without even trying.
It really
like,
does.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a shame.
Well,
lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like Cyberpunk a lot. The only other thing I did, other than just like my FF14, because again, I mostly play Starfield or Cyberpunk. Is you should join our Discord. We watched Skinamarink last night, so we're recording. Well, I guess this will come out tomorrow.
Yeah, so
we recorded on this past Sunday, where we watched Skinamarink this past Sunday. That movie's good. It's weird. It's scary, but not like. I mean, it does have a couple like jump out and scare you boos, but even those are like weird jump out and scare you boos. Because it's mostly just. Let me put it this way: there are no faces in this movie. Like everything is shot from just weird, either too high or too low angles, or too zoomed in, focusing on like TVs playing while children talk in the background, kind of movie. And yeah, it's a very strange movie. But I liked it a lot. I definitely came out, like, it scared me in a couple places. It's not the kind of movie that would, like, keep me up at night, but it definitely spooked me in a couple places just because it does a really good job of being, like, what it felt like to be home alone when you were a kid. Or, like, when you're the last person to go to bed and you're in the basement feeling, right?
You gotta run and turn the lights off.
Yeah, and you look up and like, oh fuck, the whole house is really dark and everybody else has already gone to bed, so now I have to go from the basement to my bedroom, and that's scary. It's a really good feeling of that. It's that good feeling of just being very small and very helpless and very afraid. Actually, it was kind of funny. We talked about it after the movie. But it reminded me of a personal fear. And I don't know if I ever talked about it on the show, but when I was like 4, 5, 6, the kids in this movie are about 4 and 5, so that makes sense. But when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere in that range, somehow we lived like in an old shitty apartment, and somehow the door handle to the bathroom broke while I was in it, right? So I was I was trapped in the bathroom. Like, my mom couldn't get the door open because the handle was actually broken.
Right.
And I was trapped in there for like an hour. And my mom had to call the fire department to come get me out.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, no, she literally couldn't get me out. Like, she had to like have somebody come knock her door down. And so now, as an adult woman, anytime I can't, like in a small room, if I can't get the door open, even if it's something as small as like, you know, the lock is kind of jammed and you have to kind of jiggle the handle, right?
Right.
Like my apartment's front door is like that. I have a hard time getting that door open sometimes. Because it's an old shitty building again. Imagine that.
Right.
And anytime I can't make a doorknob basically work for me, there's this little 2-second little like moment of, oh my god, I'm stuck, I'm trapped, oh fuck, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, no, I'm not, obviously, but like irrational baby brain somewhere in the back of my head is still there. And so watching that movie was it's just that kind of feeling constant, because it's a movie about like two children wake up and discover that their father is nowhere to be found in the house, and all of the doors and windows in the house have disappeared. And there's a voice calling for them to come upstairs, right? Like that's the premise of Skinamarink.
Right.
And so it's kind of about that fear of being very small and very helpless and trapped and not having like any way to help yourself, right? And it's just a weird kind of moody, like, it's like almost 2 hours long. And at one point we're like watching this movie and Oates goes, do you know we're an hour and a half into this movie? And I did not, because it had flown by, despite it being like a very slow paced kind of movie. It's good. I see why people, it's extremely polarizing. It's one of those movies you're either going to give it a 1 or a 5. I gave it a 5, but I can see why people wouldn't like it. Skinamarink good. I liked it a lot. Happy Halloween. We're watching horror movies all week, all month.
Every weekend, every Sunday.
Every Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time so far. But yeah, that's it. Otherwise,
Skinamarink, I didn't watch it. I'm a coward. But I've seen like clips of it and whatnot and whatnot. It feels like something that would have aired on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
That's the eerie, unsettling mood that I feel like it goes for.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to watch his short film. So this is a feature-length version of a film he made for his YouTube channel, actually, called Heck, which is about a similar premise. Right. And Skinamarink is just that, but extrapolated into a full-length movie. And I actually I need to sit down and watch Heck to see how that works too, because maybe that would work better for some people, that it's only like a 20-minute long horror story instead of a 2-hour long horror story, you know? But either way, I liked it a lot. I love a good weird movie. Love a good kind of pretentious horror movie, because it's something different. God knows I need to watch something different every now and then. Yeah, good movie. That's kind of all I've done though. I was very boring and normal.
I did a couple things here and there. One thing, I didn't buy it, but I did watch all of the cutscenes from Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay.
I was curious, because NetherRealm does have compelling story modes.
Sure.
Not good, but compelling. And I wanted to see what they did for this timeline.
Okay.
Because it's their second reboot in as many years.
Yeah.
Kind of their third. Because, no, 11 wasn't really a well, no, it was kind of, yeah. Because they did a bunch of time travel stuff in 11, that's right. So
technically they're third.
Yeah, so the premise of this one, by the way, is that Liu Kang usurped Raiden as the god.
Yeah.
And became Fire God Liu Kang, and sent Raiden to be a dirt farmer in this timeline.
As he deserves, yeah.
As he deserves. And he's very explicitly like, I also sent Shang Tsung and Quan Chi to be, the first cutscene with Shang Tsung is him being a literal snake oil salesman in Outworld. Just selling fake remedies out of a cart.
Yeah.
And he gets his ass kicked because someone was like, yeah, I bought these for my daughter and she died. And the crowd just turns on him, kicks his ass.
Awesome. Cool.
And so it's all the whole thing is about just the changes that Liu Kang made to the timeline to kind of fix things.
Right.
Because he kind of knows better. And he's like, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna tweak it a little bit so that doesn't happen.
Gonna unfuck everything that Raiden fucked up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, you know what? Instead of a sibling rivalry between Melina and Katana, they're just gonna be besties. Yeah.
They're just gonna be buddies. How hard is that?
I'm just gonna change that a little bit. So some of the cool things, Melina is a good guy now.
Nice.
Baraka is a good guy now.
Great!
Reptile is a good guy now.
Fantastic.
It's cool because the way they did it now is that in the old timelines, Baraka was a Tarkata, and he was like, that's just their race were a bunch of weird fang guys with blade hands, right?
Right.
In this new timeline, it's a disease called Tarkat that turns you into the blade guys.
Interesting.
And so Baraka was like, yeah, I was just a merchant, and then I got Tarkat and became this. So he's not necessarily evil. The problem is that Queen Sindel of Outworld is like, I need you to take those Uggos and I need you to put them outside the city.
I see.
And,
oh no, that seems like a problem.
On the one hand, yes, it's a contagious disease, so yeah, you would want to quarantine them.
Sure.
But maybe don't quarantine them in the ditch.
Yeah, don't be like, we're gonna send you to a nice farm upstate, and it's just another dirt farm.
And by farm, I mean pit.
That's right. We're just gonna throw you in a hole.
Go in the hole.
Go in the hole. You get to go in the sick hole. Oh, great.
But it is funny because like one of the only characters that's like actually 100% still consistent is Johnny Cage.
Sure.
And it's kind of implied that it's because Liu Kang just likes Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he's, you know what? Good for him. Johnny's a cool guy.
Yeah, he so in the old, it's funny, he gets like a lot more respect in this one because like in the older games, like everyone would make fun of his movies, and he was like known for like being like kind of like picking. He was kind of like the Nick Cage without his good movies. He just picked up a bunch of like garbage roles and whatever. Mm-hmm. In this one, like all the pre-fight dialogue is like, "I loved you in Ninja Mime."
Great! So Liu Kang really is just giving his buddy a fucking L or a W, excuse me. Taking away all his L's.
It's like super nepotism because like, yeah, Johnny Cage is going to be like one of the greatest champions of Earthrealm. Mm-hmm. Kung Lao is also going to be one of the greatest champions. Kenshi is also one of the greatest champions.
Sure.
And Raiden's a dirt farmer.
And Raiden is a dirt farmer. Fuck you. Asshole. Like, you useless son of a bitch.
In the plot, it's like he's like, Raiden will be my champion for the actual Mortal Kombat tournament, which in this timeline is now just kind of more of like a Tenkaichi Budokai than like a fight to the death.
Right, yeah.
Because again, Raiden's like, or Liu Kang's like, I'm not gonna do that.
It seems like the fight to the death thing is what was causing a lot of people's suffering, so I'm not gonna do that. That's
really stressful, so we're just gonna not do that.
I don't feel like it, actually.
It's so funny because like obviously the gore of Mortal Kombat is still present,
Sure.
The fatalities have never been more brutal. But it's at such a contrast with how Saturday morning cartoon the storyline is.
Sure, yeah.
It is the most hokey 80s thing, like Super Friends level of like, stand back, I'll use my command over the elements to defeat this foe.
Right.
As they like shoot beams of energy.
I'm going to use a beam to fix all the problems. The problem-fixing beam.
There's a scene where Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, because they do get their powers back. Someone pointed out on Twitter that they would find each other in every universe, but it's the Deadly Alliance.
Right.
Because in all three timelines, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi still find each other.
How romantic.
Their love exceeds dimensions. So they're trying to destroy the hourglass of time that like controls the entire timeline. So they start shooting it with their bad guy beams.
Sure, yeah, of course, because they're bad guys and they get bad guy beams.
And then Liu Kang and his crew are like, oh no, we gotta fix it. So they start shooting it with their good guy beams. And they're just standing there shooting beams at it.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm just like, this is the goofiest fucking shit you ever made. It's so stupid.
This sucks ass.
This is great. It's incredible.
It's so funny.
It's so funny because like a whole bunch of characters come back, and they're
Sure.
like some are implied to be doing things. Like Jax gets mentioned, and like there's characters like, oh yeah, he's like I'm gonna try to track down Kano at some point. The only character that doesn't get mentioned is Stryker.
Okay.
Which makes me think that Liu Kang just forgot about him. Because I think about the MK9 timeline, which is the only game that Stryker appeared in these. I think Liu Kang and Stryker were on screen together for like 10 minutes.
He just forgot he exists.
He's like, listen, Sindel killed a lot of people and turned a lot of them into revenants. I don't expect him to remember the one cop that was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. You don't need to worry about Stryker.
It's, you know what? It's fine. Maybe one day he'll remember him, like, in a sequel and be like, oh, fuck, I gotta put Stryker back in.
Oh, shit, that cop, right.
Oh, fuck. Just put him back in.
Just
amazing.
So he's one of the characters is Garrus, like the keeper of the time, like his like assistant. Garrus is like, I found this cop on the ground. It's like Liu Kang's like, shit, I was supposed to put him somewhere. Oh fuck. Oh boy.
It's fine. He's just a cop again. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he can be a cop over there.
Yeah, where he gets to just be a cop, kind of like there, off screen. Don't worry about it. There, see, I did it. I did the work.
Fixed it. It's fine. Sorry, don't worry about it.
Nobody noticed, right? Yeah, nobody noticed.
Is Baraka doing okay? Good. That's all I care about right now.
Is Johnny okay? Great. Fantastic.
The other things that I did, I finished Earthspark.
Oh, good.
Earthspark is good.
It's fine.
It's definitely, like, it's good for its age group.
Yeah, exactly. It's
we are definitely not the target audience.
I'm not the target audience. I'm not.
We need something a bit more sophisticated, like maybe 12-year-old demographic.
Yeah, this is
really
for like
appeal.
Babies.
This is 7-ish.
Yeah,
5 to 7.
Like, and it's fine.
It's fine.
I liked it. I was really enjoying it until like the third, like chunk of first season episodes. Then like.
They were
like the last like 5 episodes, basically after the Starscream episode, which is great, by the way. Starscream episodes are generally good. But after that, it's just like, oh, what happened?
There's all the thing I noticed more like in this batch than the lighter ones, or the earlier ones, was that there's such a discrepancy in the animation quality when they care.
Yeah, and I know it's probably because they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a children's cartoon for Nickelodeon, but
like when they put in the effort and you get like sweeping cameras and really dynamic action scenes of like where Twitch mimics Megatron, and propels herself with her cannon.
Yeah, that shit's cool as hell. Yeah.
That's cool shit. Then you get fights where everyone feels really weightless and clunky.
Yeah, and everything. You're just kind of like you're basically just smacking toys together. Yeah, right. Yeah,
and everyone runs very slowly. So yeah, it's got problems, and it's not for lack of missing its mark. It hit its mark. It's just that mark is not us.
Yeah, and I don't know though, because like I think part of the reason that it's kind of weird is that like it seems like they keep wanting to kind of angle for like both demos. Because there's a bunch of, like, all the stuff with, like, you know, the 2 previous finales, like, the mid-season finales of the first chunk and the second chunk are, like, really cool, like, more kind of older age demo stuff.
Yeah.
But it keeps getting punctuated with stuff for, like, actual 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think that's a problem, is that it just kind of feels very confused. Like, it doesn't actually know what its demographic is, which I think is kind of what's causing the friction there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like, I'm still thinking of the finale of the second chunk of it's. I wish they would just fucking put them all out at the same time.
Yeah, they really should have.
I'm thinking of that bit in, like, the second chunk of episodes at the very end, where you have all these really cool dramatic, like, camera angles and shit when
in the
Android
arena
comes back. Yeah, in the arena, and it's like, oh, cool. Like, this is obviously showing all of its rise of the TMNT kind of influences on its sleeve, and that feels like it's trying to be in that same kind of age group. Right? The kind of 12 to 14, like 10 to 14 age group, right?
Yeah.
And then it just pivots away from it really hard, which I think is what's causing the problems.
Yeah.
And kind of just making it feel very confused. It's like, well, what kind of show is, like, what kind of show is this?
Are you Rescue Bots or Prime? Like,
yeah,
you gotta pick.
You gotta pick one, because you can't do both, because otherwise you end up with, like, an extremely confused show, which is what Earthspark is. It's like, you don't know what kind of demographic you are, even a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just really weird.
Mandroid's design kicked ass, though.
Yeah,
holy shit,
extremely fucked up. Kind of insane that it just comes out at the. And that's another thing that's like, okay, well, what age group is this show for? Because that's not for babies.
That's not for little kids. No, that's terrifying. He disintegrated that woman.
He disintegrated that woman, and he turned into, like, a fucked up crab man. And it's like, okay, well, who is this for?
Yeah.
Who is this for? Because they wouldn't put this in, like, a Rescue Bots. You would put it in Prime, and it'd be great.
They did put it in Prime with fucking Silas.
That's right. Oh, yeah, well, Silas is still the fucking... Man, that whole plot line is good. I gotta finish rewatching Prime. I started a Prime rewatch the other day, or a few weeks ago. And I was just watching, I was like, this show's still really good.
It's really good.
The problem is that Earthspark, I'm enjoying a lot. Because, I mean, like, I enjoy it when it wants to be...
Yeah.
When it wants to be Transformers Prime, it's, like, doing its job better than Prime. However, Transformers Prime is significantly more consistent. Yeah. And so, like, I'm watching this, I'm just like, I could be watching Prime, right? I'm, like, watching these shows, like, these episodes are for 5-year-olds. I'm like, I could be watching Transformers Prime right now.
Yeah. It just really needs to pick a lane. So that it can get comfortable in that lane.
Yeah.
You know?
And if it's going to be for 5-year-olds, then I won't watch it, right? Like, if you're going to just decide, be like, this is another fucking Rescue Bots. It's like, okay, well then.
Okay, yeah.
I can finally cancel my my Paramount Prime subscription.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but you just got to make a decision, because you can't keep interspersing these really good episodes of, like, high quality action with these kind of weaker, middling, like, I don't know, because they aren't even lore building. Like, they're just they're
just stuff for babies. Like, it's literally just, here's the lesson of the week episode for babies, right? And it's like, that's fine. Like, I'm not the kind of person who's like, this show for children needs to cater to me, an adult. But I'm saying, like, what kind of show is this supposed to be? Because, like, there's still some, like, enjoyment to be found in watching stuff for the teenage demographic, right?
Yeah.
Like Transformers Prime and animated, and, like, you know, your other stuff that's always trendy these days, like Rise of the TMNT, your Steven Universes, stuff like that. Those shows all fall under that same umbrella of, like, this is, or like Adventure Time, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
This is a show that is for children ages 10 and up, but is still decent enough that an adult can watch it and really enjoy it. Once you get underneath that age limit, you are now watching Nick's Jr. stuff, right? And I don't watch Bluey.
Right, you know? You are, they're hovering, they're just hovering in the middle between them.
Yeah, and it's like, you gotta pick one.
They can't excel at either of them.
Right. If you would just focus on one, then it probably would be a better show. But as it stands right now, it's like, okay, well, I probably won't watch
Yeah.
season 2 unless something
Right.
changes, which is a shame because this is like literally some of my favorite robot designs ever.
Yeah.
But like some of these really good robot designs are so squandered.
Yeah. All the Terrans look amazing.
All the Terrans look amazing. This is like one of my favorite sound waves. I really like the Starscream. Obviously, I really like this Megatron because he's just fucking IDW Megatron.
Yeah.
It's not hard. They're like, we made more than meets the eye Megatron, but for babies. And it's like, oh, great. Okay.
Perfect.
Well, this is good. Yeah, no, you just gotta pick. If like next season starts and it's like, okay, this is a show for 12-year-olds. I'm like, okay, I can keep
Perfect. Yeah, I can get behind that.
But like, if it's not, I'm just gonna cancel my Paramount Prime subscription. Like, I'm hanging on to it because I want to, like, if Transformers comes back, I want to be able to watch it. But like,
right,
I can pirate Deep Space Nine. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
You know?
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's the only other reason I currently have a.
That
Paramount.
show's old.
That show's old. The only reason I have a Paramount Plus subscription right now is so I can watch Deep Space Nine. But if it's like, well, Transformers is not for me, then I just cancel it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm really just kind of like craving a Transformers thing that is for like me.
Well,
and I don't mean Rise of the Beasts.
Well, Sarah,
I know, Skybound.
let me tell you about issue 1 of Skybound.
Didn't we talk about this last week?
No, we didn't. I forgot about it.
Oh, okay.
So, holy shit! Issue 1 of
good?
Skybound is really good.
I'm so glad.
It
Okay.
is. It after IDW 2, and partially after Earthspark, and it's not Earthspark's fault, but boy, Skybound just gets it. Okay,
I'm so glad.
Like it is. Okay, so I told you a while ago about Void Rifles, right? Like the kind of like the stealth prequel of it, of the new Transformers continuity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also been really good. Void Rifles on its own has been really, really good. They do a lot of cool things where like the characters like escape the planet. They got caught by a mercenary, like a bounty hunter. They escape from that, and he goes to turn in his bounty, and the person he's turning it into is Shockwave.
Right.
And he's just like, you just get blindsided by Shockwave on a page.
yeah, exactly.
And you're like, wait, holy fuck.
Hold on a second. Wait, what?
Oh, that's right. It's a Transformers series. That's right. Technically, it is under that line. But Skybound issue 1 just gets it after IDW 2 was so bad. Because Skybound is just, here's Spike and Carly. Spike's dad is an asshole. They're climbing a mountain. They find a spaceship. There's robots in it. The robots shoot at each other. They get in a giant truck and drive away. It's Optimus Prime. Oh my god!
It's like a for real Transformers series. How nice.
Like we're not fucking around. Here's all the Autobots. Here's the Decepticons. They're here. The Decepticons are evil. The Autobots are good. They're gonna fight.
Great.
Just yes, this is what I wanted. It's maybe implied that Spike's dad was in G.I. Joe. It's unclear.
We're keeping that ambiguous for any potential crossover.
We're gonna wait a couple issues before we explain that, but we're kind of hinting at it.
It's great.
Oh, it's so fucking good. It's so
I'm so glad.
Perfect. The designs, it's
the
very.
art looks really good. I've seen the art.
Art's amazing. It's very G1, but like after IDW 2, it's kind of refreshing to be like, yeah, Autobots are going to wage their battle against the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Sure.
There you go.
There you go.
It's so it's exciting. Things happen. There's a plot moving. Oh, Starscream is like super evil. It's great. I love it.
Fantastic.
I love it. They're like, they remembered. Because we love IDW 1, obviously.
Sure.
The problem is that it led to everyone saying, oh, you like morally ambiguous Decepticons. No. I like morally ambiguous Decepticons after they've been pure evil.
Sure.
Because that's part of the redemption.
Yeah. It's the build up to like having the morally ambiguous Decepticons that is interesting.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to have that set up first.
Right. Megatron has to blow up a few planets.
Right.
Before you can work out like a redemption arc or like try to introduce some ambiguity or like some kind of gray areas of why he was doing what he was doing.
Sure.
It's very important that you do that. And so when Starscream just squashes a human in his hand, it's like, yes, you get it. They're the bad guys.
That's correct.
If you want to mix it up later, that's fine, but they gotta be the bad guys first.
We gotta start with them as bad guys, and then you can mix it up. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
I'm glad. I'm glad to have something fucking Transformers I care about.
I'm so happy. Robert Kirkman, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
It's so insane that it's fucking Bob Kirkman
I know.
of The Walking Dead. Like, yeah, he's writing Transformers now. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Why not? This may as well be happening.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend picking it up, taking a look at it.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal first issue. Wow. IDW2 was so bad.
Is it monthly? I don't understand how comics work.
So it's monthly, but it's also going to be kind of interspersed when their first couple like world building series, like Void Rivals, is going to continue for a little bit.
Sure.
And then they're going to do G.I. Joe and I think one other thing that's just kind of like building the world. So they're not necessary to continue the plot, but they're just kind of like expanding out a little bit.
Okay.
Like it's not like reading a Marvel event where you have to pick up a whole bunch of issues every week.
Right.
It's just like we're creating a new joined universe type thing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And they're going to peek at each other every so often. Very good. I love it. I'm so excited. And that's kind of about it.
Nice. Okay.
Besides Cyberpunk, I finished Sea of Stars. I completed Sea of Stars for good.
Oh yeah.
That's going on my Game of the Year list for sure.
Cool.
Easily. If I was not rushing it, I would have liked the true ending a lot more. But I did kind of rush it, and so I was like, just get on with it so I can be done. But it is super interesting.
Yeah, I am going to give it a shot. I would like to try to give it a shot before the end of the year. We will see. But yeah, no, it looks beautiful.
Absolutely incredible JRPG. Super standalone. There's like some things in it near the end that I'm like, I bet if I finished The Messenger, this would hit harder.
Right.
But apparently they're planning a third game.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see what that ends up being. Let's do some news. Sony announces new, smaller PS5 launching next month.
Doesn't cost one. They just announced. They just literally just announced this on Twitter. Like, hey, we're doing a PS5 Slim. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Which is just like, okay, not even like a state of play. Nothing. You're just gonna be like, here it is.
Here it is.
Okay. And then 2, it didn't even cost any less.
It's the same price. Digital is actually more expensive.
They raised the price of the digital one by $50. Yeah.
And I gotta say, I don't like the look. I don't love the look.
I don't love the look of it. It's not slim enough.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a PS5 Slim, we would get something a little bit slimmer. But it's not slim enough.
No.
You still have to use a stand, technically, to put it on its side. And
but it's like a weird like car jack that you prop it up with.
Oh, even more insane is that you have to buy that separately for $30.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Why would that cost $30?
I don't know. It's Sony.
It's a lug nut. It's a bolt on a lug nut.
That's because they're deranged. And honestly, when I had my PS5, I never used, like, you're supposed to put it in, like, a cradle when you put it on its side. I never did that. I just laid it on its side and it played fine. Right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, they're selling this thing for $30 to put it on its side. It apparently comes with a stand to let you stand it vertically, but that's a different thing for if you want to put it on its side, which is insane. But
the cradle that it comes with, the base PS5 comes with, is compatible with both on its side or vertically. Like you can, you just maneuver it, whatever.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. The only, like, there's two cool things about it, but they're not enough to justify the price. One is that it actually, so, like, you know, when you, I mean, the way it used to be, the way it still kind of is when you buy a new computer or a new hard drive or a new video game console, and they say it has, you know, a terabyte of storage. It actually, there's an asterisk next to that, where it actually has like 800 gigs of storage because it comes with a bunch of other shit already preloaded onto it, right? Like the OS,
all the operating system stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. This new PlayStation 5 actually comes with, out of the box, a single terabyte of storage, which I guess is nice. Cool, fine. The other thing that I think is kind of neat is that if you buy the diskless system, that's a mouthful, you can buy a disk drive for it later?
Yeah, then you just, like, slap onto the side of it.
You just put but I mean, like, it's only $50 extra to get the version with the disk drive.
And the disk drive, I think, costs $80?
Yeah, so you're not saving any money.
Like, the only way you're saving money is if you're like, I'll buy the disk drive later. It's like, that. Yeah. At $50, it's not really that much of a decrease in price.
It's not that big of a savings. Like, if it was like, oh, I'm gonna buy the diskless version now, and then in like a year I'll buy a disk drive for it, and that disk drive cost me $80, right?
Right.
And if it was like the one with the disk drive was $100 more expensive, then it's like, okay, well that comes out to being kind of economical in the long run, right? But like, no, it's only $50. Nobody's gonna buy that fucking, like, no disc version, right? I can't keep saying diskless.
Just say digital.
Digital. Oh, yeah, that's true. Nobody's gonna buy that fucking thing. Nobody already buys the fucking digital version of the PS5. Like, it has an abysmal sell-through rate compared to the Series S or the.
Yeah, Series S is the digital version.
I was going to say, is that the 1S? Sorry.
No. The 1S is the previous generation that was diskless.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because Xbox is bad at naming things.
Again, I mean, that's not even me doing a bit. That was me not being able to remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Series S has a better sell-through rate. And it's embarrassing. Like, it does not like the digital version of the PS5 is the exact same console as the disc version of the PS5, and it's just that one can play discs and one cannot.
Yeah.
But like the Series S is a worse console.
Yeah, a staggeringly worse console.
Like a significantly worse console, and also can't even play physical media, right?
Right.
And that thing does better than the digital version of the PS5, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, who is this for? Who is this for?
This is, I'm gonna say this is for, it's now significantly cheaper to make PS5s, so we're actually gonna put them on shelves. So now people can actually buy them again.
Yeah, I guess so. And they're technically raising the prices on stuff.
Yeah, because with it being the same price, means that they're probably just going to stop making regular PS5s.
Oh, sure. For sure. Yeah, like this is just an improved version, finger quotes, version of the PS5.
Yeah, and it's just like, we're going to stop making those. You can only buy the Slims, and that's why this is going to be the same price.
Right. Anyways, a bunch of dog brain decisions by Sony. Jim Ryan... From the heart of hell, he doth strike at us.
His last gasp.
The last gasp of bad Sony decisions. God help us if the new one just keeps making them.
Before I go, make the PS5 worse.
With my last breath, I curse Zoidberg.
I curse profits. Next, Nintendo has changed the Princess Peach Showtime artwork to make Peach look angrier.
She doesn't even look angrier.
She does in the Kung Fu outfit.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah.
I love that.
Her expression in that one is fantastic, by the way.
It's super funny. Yeah, like it's like a really goofy, cartoony look. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, there was minor Twitter drama. It's like, well, she looks more boyish now. Shut up. No, she doesn't.
I was such
You've
a
never
tomboy.
Yeah. You've never seen a woman in your life.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And this was being made by a woman, but I still say that you've never touched a woman in your life. You made it very obvious. Yeah, no, it's fine.
She looks great. It's actually good when characters are more expressive.
Yeah, instead of just being the same vacant-eyed expression in every single piece of art on the cover. I'm sure what happened is that they made the cover look that way, right? Like somebody, because those are all probably like individual money shots, right? Like promotional shots, and somebody assembled the cover, and everybody was like, "That looks nice." And then they took a step back, and somebody went, "She's making the same expression in all three of these pictures."
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what it is. Because, like, that's the kind of thing I would do in my design job where I would, like, make something and be so kind of in it that, like, when I put it together at the time and when I'm finally done with it, I take a step back. I'm like, oh, that looks really good. And then you come back 2 days later and you look at it again and you're like, oh, she's got the same face in all three pictures. We probably should fix that, huh? Yeah, it's that.
Yeah. No, I think it looks great. I think I'm as a fan of Princess Peach who's not weird about it.
Right.
I'm actually kind of excited to give this game a shot.
That game looks cute. That game looks very cute, yeah.
As someone who has mained Peach in Smash Brothers since the days of Melee.
Correct.
I'm kind of obligated to play the new Princess Peach game.
You can play the new Princess Peach game, Ben. Nobody will judge you. It looks cute.
I do think her kung fu face looks hilarious, though.
It's really funny, is the thing. Like, I'm really glad they changed it to that because she looks so angry, but like in a goofy way. I love it.
Yeah. Next, Calvin and Hobbes creator speaks on his first published work in 28 years.
He talks?
They put out a video where you can see him and the artist's hands while they speak over their collaboration project.
Okay. Great.
By the way, that book is out.
Oh, yeah.
The reviews are in. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
It is a picture book.
Sure.
There's not a whole lot of text going on.
Sure.
The story is it's called The Mysteries, and it's about the things that people were afraid of. Turned out to not be so scary, so they stopped being afraid of them. But then they got weak and complacent. And the mysteries liked that.
Sure.
You know, it's immoral.
It's a moral story. Yeah, sure.
Honestly, the more interesting part is just the process of how Bill Watterson and John Cash got together to make this, because it took years and they just kept going in opposite directions. Oh yeah. With their collaboration, contributions, you know?
Right, yeah.
And then eventually they're just they spend so much time wasting time and stepping over each other. They're like, wait, if we just go in opposite directions on purpose,
let's see what happens.
It creates a weird juxtaposition that is actually kind of appealing.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Bill Watterson will be okay with 3 out of 5 stars, because then it means no one's gonna ask me for anything ever again.
That's right. Leave him alone. Stop asking him to make art.
Back to the woods with me.
I shall resume my lonely solitude. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him.
Next, new Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima, confirmed for fall 2024. Dragon babies, making your dreams come true.
I'm a hater. I think this show looks bad. I'm a hater. I'm sorry. I saw this trailer on Twitter, and I was like, y'all are not really getting this extremely excited over a show for children, like an actual baby cartoon.
I think the animation looks incredible.
But the animation looks great for sure.
But I think it's hilarious. I think it's the funniest fucking idea ever. It's like we're gonna take the thing that everyone hated about GT and we're gonna add it to every character.
We're gonna make it to every character. Remember how everybody got really excited that Goten and Trunks were like finally grown up.
They're finally like mid teenagers.
And then it's like, nope, they're back to being babies. Go to hell.
They did. I mean, they do know what we want because they did put Trunks in the little hat.
They did put Trunks in the little hat.
They did put him in the little hat, which is good.
But like,
it
was very funny to me.
They fucking showed off Grand Kai as a baby, like Shin even.
It's like, okay, sure.
Like Master Roshi and Mr. Satan as babies. It's fucking funny. Mr.
Satan without his mustache, extremely cursed.
Yeah. I like that Master Roshi is still bald even as a baby.
That's correct.
They made a point to be like, Goku can't punch anymore. He's got little tiny arms, so he gets the power pull back.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see.
I'm a hater.
My favorite bits about Super were the goofy slice of life stuff.
Sure.
So this is exactly what I want, where it's hopefully just going to be
just a bunch of goofy slice of life shit.
Yeah, dumb shenanigans.
Right.
Now the weird thing is, people have been hinting that this actually takes place between Boo and the start of Super.
Sure.
They're just going to shove it into that time frame.
They're just going to stick it right in there. Why not? I think it's all very funny to me, just because like they're like, this is the thing that Akira Toriyama is involved with. And like, to me, I'm like, oh, this is just proof that what I've always known. A thing that I've kind of internalized a lot, which is that Toriyama's just a hack. Like, that's the thing I've taken away from like all of the Dragon Ball that we've kind of involved ourselves with over the last couple of years, is that like, I think Toriyama's just a hack. I think he is. And it's like, this is the Dragon Ball thing that he's involved with. I'm like, I see, I understand immediately, Toriyama. I mean, get that back, but also, I think you might be a hack fraud.
I think he's like 75 years old and like, wants to just draw robots.
That's correct, and nobody will let him.
And Dragon Quest monsters.
And Dragon Quest characters, yeah.
And because, at his core, the man is a comedy writer.
Correct.
Like he is always trying to drag back to comedy. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let him draw dragon babies. Let him produce dragon babies.
Making your dreams come true.
Did you see there was a post that was like, it's a gif of like a dog like shivering, and it's like Gohan when he can't find Pan.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Next, Best Buy to end DVD Blu-ray disc sales. That's probably a bad idea.
I don't think that's a good idea. It's kind of like what that whole store exists for.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think
Best Buy's already kind of having a hard time. But like, like it's kind of the only place you can go to buy like DVDs and music and stuff, right? Like physically.
Like physical media, like Best Buy has the monopoly,
right?
On at least like brick and mortar, like to buy physical media.
So it seems very strange to me to give up. Like, they have a niche, like they have an actual like market niche, and it's not like, I mean, those stores are huge. What are you gonna put in them, right? Like,
like it's not you're not.
What are you gonna replace them with?
You're not cramped for space in a Best Buy. It's a warehouse.
It's just a big warehouse that you put DVDs and music and shit in. And like, yeah, they sell computer parts, but I don't know anybody who buys their computer parts willfully from Best Buy. Like, you buy a piece of computer, like a piece of computer from Best Buy because something broke and you need a fix right fucking now.
You buy a mouse and keyboard from there. You don't buy your graphics card or RAM or anything like that. You're like, ah, shit, I need another HDMI cable.
Yeah, like, oh, the dog chewed my HDMI cable and I really need one right now. I'm going to go to Best Buy.
Or you order computer parts and you're like, ah, this is VGA. I got to go get a VGA cable now.
Yeah, I need like some kind of converter. Well, then I'm going to go to Best Buy. But, like, that's it. Nobody buys... Like, I'm not going to buy my graphics card from Best Buy.
Yeah, no.
Right? Like, I know they sell them, and I'm sure somebody must be buying them because otherwise they wouldn't sell them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, like, that can't be their primary sales vector.
You have the control over movies and for the most part, like, actually kind of games too.
Yeah, it's like, kind of, now that GameStop is kind of floundering, like,
yeah,
and they're not discontinuing physical game sales,
right? Just DVD and Blu-ray, but it's still just like there's no other electronic media store.
I mean, I guess like Target and Walmart's, they still have those sections, but like
those are sections of the store.
Exactly.
And you know, there's no, like, Walmart maybe, but like there's no Target that's bigger than a Best Buy. Like, you have the control over that. Why are you giving up this market?
Yeah, it's very weird to me to just like willfully, like, when you are obviously, like, sales are clearly down for Best Buy, right? Like, they are, the company is floundering. It seems very strange to me to give up your market niche when things are bad. Like, I feel like you should lean into the market niche more, maybe.
Like, I get that, like, sales in general of physical media are probably going down because of streaming.
Sure.
But, like, you still have the full control over that declining market.
Right.
Why not just keep riding it out? No one's going to swoop in and take your money.
Yeah, like, you're just giving up a chunk of that money for, like...
It's that shit we talked about.
Like, no reason.
It's the shit we talked about last week. Where it's corporates, executives who are like, I've been saying this for a while. They would rather make no money than make less than infinite money.
Yeah, it's very weird to me. This feels just like changing something to change something. Because, like, those stores are huge. It's not like, well, we can't afford to store the physical media anymore. Like, yeah, you can. No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can. It's a very weird decision.
You can fit 1,000 DVD Blu-ray boxes in, like, a medium-sized cardboard box. Like, It's not a space issue. These aren't pallets of, like, computer towers, you know? Mm-hmm. That they're like, we just physically can't fit them in our warehouse. These are DVDs.
Right.
You know? Like,
yeah, I don't know. This one feels like this just feels like a weird decision. Not even like a bloodless corporate decision, because, you know, there's a lot of just, like, miserable, horrible corporate decisions being made left and right these days. This doesn't even feel like that. This just feels like you don't know what you're doing, do you? Yeah.
No, like, this is like, look, listen. Back when toy stores were a thing, right? As a Transformers fan, I remember the days of walking past a clearance shelf in a toy store and seeing figures that are 15 years old. Mm-hmm. So it can't be a space issue.
It cannot be a space issue.
Listen, if Toys R Us is still willing to sell Animorphs action figures in, like, 2006, because they'd rather make $1.50, maybe, potentially, than just throw this thing away.
Yeah, like, why not just keep it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's very weird to me. This I don't understand corporate brains. I don't get it.
It's like I said, they would, instead of seeing the line decrease, not even go down, but the increase is at a lesser angle.
Right.
They'd rather see no line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Because then you can sell all of that to somebody else and, like, make it their problem, right? Because like all business these days is about being acquired by someone else. Yep. So if you can obliterate your business, then somebody else will come in and buy it, and you'll get a big chunk of change, and you can just walk away happy, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. Speaking of declining sales.
Oh no.
In the year 2023, one new Wii U was sold.
Who are you? Who are you?
One Wii U.
New Wii U. I have to know who this person is.
Here's a tweet that this came from. Matt Piscatella on Twitter. One new Wii U was sold in the U.S. in September. First time new Wii U was sold since May 2022. Last time a new Vita unit was sold was in November 2021 when 3 were purchased.
By the same guy?
I don't know.
I want to know who the sole purchaser of a brand new. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing
out
that really
of the
blows
box.
Out of the box, because you can go on eBay and probably get a used Wii U in great condition for like $75, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
And it probably will come with like 20 games.
Yeah.
Because somebody's just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. Did I ever tell? After everyone does, I'll tell you the story when I don't think I told the podcast the story when I sold my old PS3 recently.
Oh my god! So yeah, no, like the whole point here is that it's just like, who is buying this new?
What I want to see is the updated real time chart of sales now.
Just watch it go up,
because at some point Nintendo probably like stopped tracking the real-time sale chart, right?
Sure.
But now it's gonna be like just an increase and then a sharp decline and then several years pass and then boop, and then it keeps going. That's
it. And then it just goes right back down.
Yep.
It's just very funny to me to buy a brand new
Do you think they knew what they were doing when they bought the Wii U? Do you think they were like...
I don't know.
Do they think they were like... Yeah, was it someone who was like, I need to purchase this while I can for the sake of preservation? Or were they like, I've never seen this Nintendo console before. I didn't know they made this.
Why is it
$30?
I feel like it has to be the first one, right?
Right.
Like, because otherwise, it has to be. Because, truth be told, nobody knows what a fucking Wii U is, except for somebody buying it for, like, collection purposes.
You know what I bet it is? Bet it is? It was a collector whose basement flooded.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And the Wii U got destroyed.
And they were like, well, I mean, all the games were fine because they're, like, upstairs where things are in regular circulation, right? Mm-hmm. But the Wii U was in storage.
Right.
Because why would you put your Wii U out?
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, shit. My Wii U got broken, and like for the sake of preservation for collection, I should go track down a replacement. And they went to a Best Buy or something. Yeah. And it was like, oh, well.
Wow, they have
like, do you have any Wii U's? And the guy was like, can you check the back? And they're like, I guess. And the guy went to the back. And for the first time in recorded history,
there was something in the back.
They actually did have one in the back, and the guy carried it out like, we actually did have one in the back. They had to like
covered in dust.
Yeah, they had to like push off like a bunch of defunct Skylanders to get to it.
Oh, you are really painting a picture of what like the back room at the GameStop I used to work at looks like. Like, this is vivid. This is exactly what my old back room used to look like.
Just buried under a pile of opened Skylanders.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like that they literally can't sell, but execs won't let them just throw them away.
Right. And they're just kind of sitting there in like the return bin. Yeah, absolutely.
Like underneath all that was a still factory sealed Wii U. And they're like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. And that guy is the only guy who bought a Wii U in the year of our Lord 2023. Good for him, I guess.
And then somewhere in Japan, a light went on that had not gone on for over a year.
Yeah, and somebody in Japan was very confused. A light went off, and they're like, what the fuck is this light for? Excuse me? Nani? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, no. I love that idea. I agree. I think it's very funny. It's a very funny bit to buy a Wii U in 2023.
Mm-hmm. I just want to tell my story real quick because I had for a while I bought a first generation PS3 because a long time ago I finally was like, fuck it, I have money, I really want to play the PS3 version of Tales of Vesperia.
Okay.
Right? Like I want to get, because there's a patch that translates it to English and whatnot. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to get that. The patch comes with all the DLC and all the costumes and whatnot, so perfect. I'm going to get that. Mm-hmm. You need a first generation PS3 to upload the homebrew stuff to actually put in the patch translations. I bought that. I bought a Japanese disc. I put it in. I started playing the game. I started making some progress in it. A few months later, they announced Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition for the Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went, shit. I'm not gonna, like, if I'm gonna play this game, I'm not gonna play it on a janky-ass first-generation PS3, right? Like, I'm gonna play it on my Switch, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it'll have English in it.
Right.
So it just kind of sat on my shelf for years, because it's like, what am I gonna? I have a PS3 that I use on top of it. Like, what am I gonna do with this thing? So finally, one day, I'm just like, all right, fuck it. There's a disc replay near my house. I'm just gonna bring it in there and say, hey, what can I get for this? Like, here's the Tales of Vesperia copy with it too, because like I have the Switch version. I don't need a Japanese copy of the game anymore.
Right.
I bring it in there and I drop it off, and they're like, okay, we're gonna test it, make sure it works. And then we're going to call you back with the price or whatever.
Sure.
So I'm hanging out with a friend. I did it while one of my friends was in town because we had nothing else to do that day. And we were just hanging out. We get a call later on. They're like, no, first. So they analyzed it. They said, they called me and said, okay, our offer for this is $15.
Great.
And I wasn't expecting like $100, but I was at least expecting 50. You know?
Or even like 30, $40.
Because like there's a game with it too. Like, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we can't take the game because it's in Japanese.
Right.
And they're like, we'll pay you $15 for it. And I'm like, what? I wanted it out of my house. That's the reason for it. I'm just like, whatever, just take it. They're like, okay, fine. Like, you know, we got to test it. We'll call you when it's ready for you to, you know, come get your cash. They call me like 20 minutes later, and they're like, we can't get it to turn on. so we can't buy it off you. And I'm like, can you just throw it in the garbage?
Can you just keep it? I don't want it.
They're like, do you want the game? And I'm like, no.
No, you can have it.
It's not worth the drive to go get the game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that's how
you got rid of your PS3.
Got rid of this thing that's been on my shelf for like at least 7 years.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Next, Bethesda's Pete Hines announces retirement.
Everybody's getting out of the game. You got Bobby Kotick on here, right?
All the Warriors. I do have Bobby Kotick on here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll also talk about that.
And it's ancillary because it's part of the ActiBliz deal, but yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no, everybody's just fucking getting out of the game. Yeah. I guess everybody's like, again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week of like, I think a lot of people are realizing that AAA development is not a good scene right now.
Yeah.
And I think like Pete Hines is probably like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think, good.
Sure. The
death of the AAA industry cannot come any faster.
Absolutely. Inshallah, we will see the destruction of the AAA industry in our lifetime. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Once you stop chasing that high, you can actually make good games instead.
Yeah, maybe make good video games instead of a bad video game.
On time.
Yeah. Yeah, in a reasonable amount of time within like 3 years. Crazy idea, I know.
Did you know that if you sell 2 games in 5 years that are each 70% of the cost of one 5-year game, you make more profit.
Crazy,
because
I know.
You didn't put all the profit into one game.
Yeah. And then that way, if one of the games slightly underperforms, but the other game performs extremely well, then it's okay.
You make money.
You're not underwater. I know, it's a crazy idea.
There's this thing about eggs in baskets and whether or not you should put all of them in one or not. Should probably look into that, is what we're saying.
Yeah, crazy idea. But yeah, no, Pete Hines is out at fucking Bethesda. You know what? Fine, sure. Enjoy your retirement, I guess. It's very funny. Just like, oh, everybody's now, you know what this means. It's your turn, Todd. Maybe we can finally...
You're just pointing to Todd like you're All Might, like you're next.
You're next. That's me. We have to get rid. I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry. Having now played Starfield and having had my opinion of it sour, and realizing that Starfield is your dream game, I gotta say, maybe don't even make video games. Maybe it's time to go to bed, old man.
It's time to hang up your gloves and just get out of the game.
Yeah. If that's the best you can do, if this is your dream game, maybe you should make not video games.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you should just take over Pete Hines' job of being like the hype man.
Yeah.
Because he's good at that.
If Todd Howard became Microsoft's Reggie Fils-Aimé, I'm okay with that.
Great. He'd be great at his job. Yeah, he would absolutely nail it. Because I mean, like, who the fuck do they have now? Phil Spencer, the most, like, charisma-less man. He's like a vacuum of charisma. Like, he walked on stage at fucking FanFest, and you literally felt the energy drain out of the room. Yeah. Which is stunning. Because, like, 5 minutes before that, the fucking CEO of Square Enix was on screen, also just demolishing all of the energy in the room. But, like, slightly less, and then fucking Phil Spencer walks in, and you can just hear like the whole crowd be like, "What the fuck is he doing here?"
Like, why?
Right?
Did he wander on?
Nobody is happy to see Phil Spencer at anything, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you could replace him very easily with Todd Howard to be like Microsoft's hype man.
Yeah,
and it would go really well, I think. Because Todd is good at lying, and like despite everything, he is very charismatic. He's very enthusiastic about everything he does. Right?
Like the biggest compliment I can give to Starfield is that this is Todd Howard's dream game, and he did everything he wanted to do in this game.
Absolutely, you can tell that this is a game made by a guy who's very passionate about a very specific kind of thing. I just think it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But like he actually has some sort of passion and enthusiasm. So, you know,
if he's happy with it, good for him. But,
but the point is that I think Todd Howard should stop making video games and instead just start being like, you know, the fucking the wingman for Microsoft as a company. Be like, listen, we're gonna get you a girl tonight. That's Todd Howard.
I would trust Todd Howard to set me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
He'll lie for me.
He'll lie for me. I won't feel bad about it because it's not coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. Next, Microsoft completes acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Can we stop talking about this now?
I think we can finally stop talking about this. Bobby Kotick is finally out at Activision. Thank God. Go to hell.
He got that golden parachute that he had been jonesing for.
He's been so enthusiastic to get that golden parachute, and he finally fucking got it. So we'll finally be free of Bobby Kotick. We'll finally be free of the ActiBliz merger being in the goddamn news, even though, like, you know, what is the point of regulators if you're gonna let this thing go through? But like, whatever.
At least it's over.
At least it's over. Frankly, I am looking forward to Activision never putting out another video game ever again now that they've been acquired by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Have you seen what the map of that company looks like now? Just like in terms of studios under its umbrella?
By a map, you mean like before you explore the area and it's just like fog of war, the whole thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's fucking a nightmare. Like, there are so many different like companies and like there are so many tentacles to this Hydra. I'm not surprised Microsoft never gets anything done, because how the fuck do you even manage all of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy. So, yeah, it sucks that Activision or that ActiBliz was allowed to be purchased by Microsoft. But on the bright side, they're not going to put any more video games out, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
You can't monopolize the industry if you're not putting anything out. So
this article has a screenshot or like a picture of like a lot of the franchises and whatnot that Blizzard or that Microsoft now owns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fun looking at these and realizing they're never going to get another game again.
Oh God, no! There's the rumored Dishonored 3, which please, oh God, please, and the rumored Fallout 3 remaster.
Yeah. Which, God, I hope that's a remake and not a remaster.
I hope it's like a real. Like,
I hope it's just
ground up remake. Yeah.
We put Fallout 3 in the Fallout 4 engine, and it's just, hey, we put Fallout 4 settlement building in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Because I'll play Fallout 3 if I can do that.
Yeah, and like the thing is that I feel like that's probably what it's gonna be, because there was a mod project for Fallout: The Capital Wasteland, and it was literally just, we're gonna remake Fallout 3 in the 4 engine.
Yeah.
And then they literally got like a C&D from Bethesda, which I feel like kind of shows your hand.
Yeah. Which good. I like that kind of stealth announcement.
Sure. So, like, that's probably what it is it's actually just, like, Fallout 3 rebuilt in the 4 engine. We will never get that for New Vegas unless it's an actual modded version, because Bethesda is famously very jealous of New Vegas's cultural purchase that 3 just does not have. But hey, that's fine. And yeah, but that's kind of, like, it in terms of stuff on the horizon that anybody gives a fuck about that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Like that big leak that happened when all of those documents dropped because of Microsoft fucking up. There was really not a lot on that list that I felt could get anybody's like blood pumping, Yeah,
no.
So, yeah, you see all these companies, you're just like, wow, they're never going to put out another video game again. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's those rumors of Microsoft officially getting out of the gaming industry in like the next 2 or 3 years are looking. The more they try to purchase, the more real that rumor becomes.
Yeah,
right?
I just feel like it's because like this is kind of their last attempt, because like the Xbox division just loses money hand over fist, right?
Yeah.
Like they just hemorrhage money, and now they've spent $69 billion on Activision.
Yeah.
They're not going to recoup that investment.
No.
Like especially because like the new Call of Duty is only going to be on Xbox, right? So it's the same problem that 16 had, just in the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like there's only you're just going to cut your audience. Not in half, because I don't know how those numbers work out in terms of sales, but you're cutting a huge chunk out of your audience. So like Call of Duty is not going to make that money back for Microsoft, right? Like,
right.
The only reason that Xbox is still able to function right now is because they are owned by Microsoft, who have a monopoly on operating systems.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, that's it. And like Xbox is just their money hole. They just throw things in there and to light it on fire, basically. So I would not be surprised if this console generation is Xbox's last attempt to make something work. But I feel like nobody is able to make anything work right now, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
PlayStation can't even make things work. They're obviously visibly floundering. And if PlayStation can't make it go, then you sure as fuck can't, right?
Nintendo wins by doing nothing.
Nintendo wins by doing nothing, I guess,
Nintendo is perpetually that one Australian figure skater in the Olympics.
Yeah,
who is
absolutely.
Just like smiling brightly because his competition fell over.
Everybody else just tripped and fell on their dicks, I guess, right?
That quote from Pat Boivin has been going around lately, where he talks about like, the gaming industry is not an industry of successes. It is of your opponents failing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so true. It continues to be true. all you have to do in video games, this is like a summary of what Pat says.
Yeah.
All you have to do in video games is not fuck up.
Not even that. You just have to fuck up less.
You have to fuck up less and just like kind of just keep doing what you've been. If you've been doing a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Just keep doing it.
Put your head down.
Keep your head down and just do your shit and do it well. And then eventually, again, one of your competition will trip over its own dick and you will win by default.
When your ego gets too big, that's when your stuff collapses. So just keep your head down, announce some stuff, put it out, get the money out of it, then repeat the process. The minute you start trying to branch out, you get too big ahead is when you get this merger that is going to kill so many companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are never going to get that Elder Scrolls 6 game. I'm sorry, it's not coming out. It's not
coming out. No,
because Bethesda won't last that long.
No, like Elder Scrolls 6 is never coming out. There's never gonna be a Fallout 5.
It's
like I guess I could say it's too far off. That shit probably will come out, but only after like Xbox Game Division collapses and they start selling fucking assets, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But like I don't know who would even buy that stuff because nobody's got the money for it right now.
Start the clock now until we start seeing these franchises get piecemeal sold off to other companies.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's gonna be. Maybe that's why Todd won't quit. Maybe it's Todd's like, if this fucking company goes down, I'm taking Elder Scrolls with me.
I'm just imagining a world where in like 3-4 years, for whatever reason, Naughty Dog just buys the rights to Crash Bandicoot back.
That would be, it's totally possible. Shit. Yeah, that's not impossible.
Yeah.
But, it's so weird to think about, okay, if Microsoft does somehow collapse, it wouldn't be in 3 to 4 years, it'd be like 5 to 6 years, because they would slow roll it, you know?
Yeah.
So we might still get Elder Scrolls 6, who knows? It would be like the last gasp, right? But let's say that they do collapse, right? Like it's been a slow burnout of an entire games division. They have all of these properties up for sale, and they're all worth good money. Like Elder Scrolls is worth a lot of money. Fallout is worth a lot of money. Like Doom is worth a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But Embracer went under.
Right.
Who is buying these? THQ is barely a thing. Who's buying these rights? I guess Sony could buy the rights to some of it, and Nintendo could scoop up the rights to some of it. But, they also don't really want a lot of that stuff.
Especially Nintendo doesn't really want the rights to other people's stuff.
Yeah, they do perfectly fine with their own stuff. I guess Tencent could come in and scoop up a lot of things.
But even they're not.
But they don't make video games. They're just they invest in game companies and then reap the share of those profits, right? That's what Tencent does. They don't really make games.
The only logical outcome, or the only I guess not logical, but the only positive outcome of these would be that these companies just go back to being third-party companies, right?
Well, the problem there is that they can't because they wouldn't have the money for it now, right? Because they're receiving all their funding from Microsoft. Microsoft dries up. That funding dries up. Those companies they don't get to just keep their shit. They just stop existing. Yeah,
Nintendo and Sony aren't going to want to outright buy the rights to Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Doom and stuff like that, because either that's not their business protocol, or they just saw Microsoft collapse for doing this exact same thing, right?
I feel like some of that stuff could still get sold off. I could see Sony buying up the Elder Scrolls and Fallout maybe.
Yeah.
But then there's a bunch of stuff that just kind of ends up how Deus Ex was a real estate was just owned by a real estate company for a few years.
Yeah.
Because because of the way that rights kind of happened over the course of multiple companies collapsing.
I think, wasn't it also like Mary McGee's Alice was also...
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of instead of...
There's been other companies where it's just like, the right... No, I'm thinking of Megas XLR was bought by a law firm or something.
Yeah, and there's tons of instances of that.
Yeah.
I feel like a bunch of stuff would just become that.
Yeah.
It would just become like an asset in somebody's portfolio to just kind of hang out for 15 years, which I guess is maybe fine because it means we can finally get some original shit because nobody would have access to it anymore.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, ultimately, when Microsoft stops making Xboxes, all these franchises are vanishing. Because there's no reasonable plot or progression of events in which we get a Sony exclusive Fallout game, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't happen that it won't happen that way.
Yeah, I wonder, like, the charitable thing or the good version, which of course we don't, the good thing never happens. Why the fuck would anything nice ever happen ever, etc.
Right.
Is that Microsoft just becomes a publisher, right?
Yeah.
And like they just sell their shit. Like they try to basically become another Steam via their own storefronts, you know, like via Game Pass and stuff like that. And so then I guess you do put it back on PlayStation, or maybe you just have it all on PC. I don't know. See, but then when you start thinking about stuff like that, you're like, no, that would never happen.
No,
right?
because of Steam.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't know. I think you're right. I think the actual answer is that a bunch of shit just goes away for 15 years until somebody can buy the rights back up.
Yeah, there's no place for them to go.
Right.
Is the problem. Like, there's no place for these franchises, these developers to go when Xbox collapses, because it's an inevitability at this point.
Yeah. And, like, because, like, the other option, like, Ubisoft is also on the brink of collapse. It used to be that it's like, okay, well, this, you know, there's going to be a bunch of, licenses up in the air for somebody to buy the rights to, right? And it's like, okay, well, Ubisoft could snatch some of them up. They can't. They're on the verge of collapse too, right? And now Activision and Blizzard are owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's basically, this is a very roundabout way of saying that market consolidation is a bad thing, guys. The
entire industry at this point, the entire industry is a dying Midwestern mall.
It is very interesting because, like, video games are doing better than ever. People are buying a lot of video games, and, like, a lot of really good video games are coming out. And, like, the PC market is doing better than it ever has. But at the same time, like, it's very interesting to just think about how, like, on the verge, how much of it is like a tinderbox, right?
Yeah.
Like, anything could set this thing off, and suddenly you have whole massive swaths of the industry just vanishing overnight. It's very 1980. It's very like the collapse of 84, right?
Right. Yeah. That's kind of on the path we're heading. If they continue doing what they're doing, we are on the path for a much more catastrophic 1984 industry collapse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's the exact same thing. Is everyone put out way too much crap and overcrowded the market. And it's not the exact same thing, because this is more, the things they're putting out are too big. And it's just leading to this inevitability of, well, once the public interest in these giant 5-year massive projects wanes to a certain level, it's just everything is going to fall apart.
Yeah. Very interesting kind of place for the industry to be right now. Because I'm perfectly content to be playing my indie games, so it's fine.
You're right in that, like, we've had so many good fucking games this year.
Yeah. But, like, the systemic parts of the industry are really bad right now. I'm still
I think about all the time, because I'm right now I'm planning out my game of the year list. I'm thinking about how much of a freak anomaly Hi-Fi Rush was.
Sure, yeah,
absolutely. To be this Microsoft produced, published game, exclusive game thing, that was exactly the thing we've been saying they should be doing for years.
Mm-hmm.
Smaller scale, really artistic, unique gaming experience that was 12 hours long. And that's it.
That's it.
And it was a huge success. Do more like that and you'll be fine.
But like, I guess the thing is that it's kind of a like a high risk, high reward thing. It's why Square Enix keeps insisting on chasing the AAA.
Yeah.
The AAA like profits as well, is because like, yeah, if you could potentially lose a ton of money, but if your AAA game is like a runaway success, you have another God of War on your hands where you've sold like 50 million copies and you're just fucking rolling in it, right?
But
and
it might work for us.
But it might work for us. And yeah, so it's just a very strange place for the whole industry to be right now. Because this consolidation is making things very, very shaky that they weren't like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like even just 10 years ago, everybody is being, Blizzard was absorbed into Activision, and then Activision ActiBliz is absorbed into Microsoft. Bethesda is no longer like their own independent entity. Ubisoft is just not a player in the industry anymore. They say they are, they're not. Like Square Enix is off doing their own thing. Good for them. Nintendo is off doing their own thing. Good for them. Sony is like super floundering. They have no idea what they're doing, like with their whole kind of identity as a games company.
Yeah.
And then they also shut down a bunch of internal stuff, like they shut down Japan Studio and stuff like that. Like they it's like nobody knows what the fuck they're doing right now. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing right now. Everybody wants just a bigger piece of the fucking money pie, and it's just setting themselves all up for catastrophic failure. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. What is this industry going to look like in like 3 years?
Oh, bad.
Like that's like, what is going to be the landscape of this industry?
It's going to be very weird.
It's going to be bizarre.
Yeah. And I think Microsoft is still going to be able to kind of shuffle along for a while, but yeah.
Do you think it's going to be, you know what? I think the good ending of all this is that Microsoft shutting down is the meteor.
Sure.
It kills off all the dinosaurs, and all of the smaller mammals reclaim the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we need. We need the Titans to be killed, and we just need to let smaller studios return like things kind of used to be.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we're kind of hurtling towards, because indie devs are doing like not fine because the competition is more brutal than ever. Right. But like indie games are doing great. PC gaming itself is doing great. You can self-publish and make money that way nowadays. Yeah, I think there's probably going to be a very big pivot in the next couple of years. Yeah. I don't know what that looks like though. We'll see. I do know, no matter what, that this market consolidation shit that Microsoft is doing is going to backfire on them in one way or another.
So many people are going to lose their jobs very soon.
Oh yeah, like in the next like 3 to 5 years. I just don't think. I mean, Microsoft has not really been able to get anything good out the door. The only reason they were able to get Starfield out the door is because that game was mostly produced before they fell under the fucking Microsoft umbrella. Right? Like, I don't think. Like, the new Forza came out and everybody hates it, right? It's got like a 42% on Metacritic or something like that. And so they just. I don't know what's going on over there. I would really like to, and nobody's going to talk to anybody about it because, of course, then you lose your job. But, like, everything has been going so poorly over there. I don't think Sony's output is good by any measure in terms of quality video games because they all look the fucking same. But things are still coming out. Yeah. Right? Like, video games are still coming out. I can't think of a big release that Microsoft has had recently that went well other than Starfield. Like, because Halo Infinite was a huge fucking disaster.
And this might be me being a stickler. I don't really count Starfield as a Microsoft success.
It's not, because Bethesda. Because, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the whole thing, is that was made before. Most of that video game was finished before the acquisition, right? Like, the bones of that game's design and all that shit was finished before they got snatched up by Microsoft. And so, like, now, like, what does the production pipeline within Microsoft look like?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, there really hasn't been anything coming out of other Bethesda studios since, like, because, like, I'm thinking of, like, id, right? Like, the other, you know, like, Arcane had Redfall. It was a huge fucking disaster.
Yeah.
We haven't had another Doom game. Like, I'm trying to think of just other stuff that's coming out. I'm coming up blank. I don't know.
There's nothing. There's nothing. I'm looking at this list of franchises they have here. And it's like, there's no new StarCraft coming out.
Yeah.
There's no new Halo coming out. There's no new World of Warcraft is slowly dying.
Mm-hmm.
Doom isn't getting anything for a while. Like, Overwatch is on its way out.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like, Activision can coast on Call of Duty, but people are getting sick of Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Like, you see all those fucking idiot dude bros who are like, video games suck these days.
You are also kneecapping yourself by cutting out the Sony audience entirely.
Yeah,
even if
absolutely.
it's only like 20% of your audience, that's still a significant. At this point, that's a lot. That's valuable people to sell to. I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know.
Anyway, the point of this whole conversation is the video games are going to look really, really weird in like 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So 3 to 5 years.
It's going to be a very different industry.
Mm-hmm. Is that it? Are we done with news? It's been
I have
2
one
hours.
more.
Oh my god.
Analog's new X console plays N64 games in 4K. We're getting a third-party console that plays N64 games.
Cool.
That's neat.
Neat. Fantastic. Good for them.
I would like to buy that.
It's $1,000. Do not spend $1,000 on a fucking N64 emulator, basically. Like,
no, it'll be like $200 to $250 is the price range for other.
Okay, thank God. What am I seeing? I saw something earlier that they also announced something else that's like way more expensive.
Am
I crazy? Did I make that up?
Was it from Analog 3D?
I think it was from Analog. Yeah.
Let me take a quick look.
Didn't they announce something else? It doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe I just invented something.
You might have just invented something. Yeah, no, this is just going to be regular old
that's not so bad then.
Third-party N64 that's finally HDMI compatible and puts it into 4K.
Good for, you know what? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Buy one. That's good. Analog makes neat things. So, yeah. That's kind of that's the real thing, is that the whole industry is just kind of going back to like being like a weird hobbyist thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine by me. I don't mind it being a little bit more hobbyist oriented. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Make games cheaper. I like that.
Monkey Island continues to be true.
That's so true. All right, get us out of here.
That'll be it for us. Thank you to DJ Cutman for using background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. You can email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com, and you can join our Discord. You can hang out with us and watch movies and talk to us about stuff and get excited about FF14 content and play raids and stuff with us. And hang out and donate to our Patreon and get a bunch of cool stuff. We're gonna do something spooky-ish this month.
I gotta find something. That's right.
We'll also do something. I'm thinking I would like to just do like a quick look at Alan Wake for the $2 tier.
That's right. We were talking about that.
Yeah. So we'll see though. We'll see. It's $2 and you get something cool out of it. All right. That'll do it for us.
Oh God. What do we got?
No, we've done the Activision Blizzard thing so many times. We can't do it again.
We can do it one more time because this will be the end. This is it.
This is it.
You know what? Actually, the actual thing is fuck the Activision Blizz story.
Yeah.
Like in specific, fuck this whole news story. I'm so happy to see it go.
Yeah, we are
That's
done
it.
with that forever.
God willing, if you come back next week or whenever we record next, and you're like, actually, there's more Activision Blizzard news. I'm like, no, out, go.
I'm not talking about it.
No,
I wash my hands of this story. It's not going to be on the docket anymore.
Unless somebody kills somebody, it's not going to be on the docket anymore.
Unless Bobby Kotick's golden parachute fails and he plummets to his death. Then I'll talk about it.
Then we'll talk about it. But otherwise, something needs to be actively on fire for us to ever talk about Activision Blizzard, Microsoft acquisition ever again. So fuck this story. I'm so tired of it.
Good night,
Good night, everyone.